Hey everyone, welcome back to Political X. For more knowledge and updates on UK, European and US politics, make sure you subscribe to this channel.
There is the third way that Britain, global Britain, can do good for the world and for itself.
There's never been a better time for Britain to engage globally.
Yesterday, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson published the Integrated Foreign Policy Review, Global Britain in a Competitive Age.
That's an 8 or 9 trillion free trade area. That's in dollars, encompassing some of the fastest growing economies on the other side of the world. And if America joins too, and it could under the Biden administration, we'd effectively get a free trade deal with the Americans thrown in. What's not to like?
Well, Andrew, just like GB News, everything can have a downside. Brexiteers seem to really hate the planet, and they seem to be obsessed with money, even if that is to the detriment of friends, family, and the planet, just like Gollum in Lord of the Rings. The planet has enough problems without us accelerating our need to export to countries all over the world, and yet this is the exact thing that Brexit is wanting us to do. This is the exact thing that the Tory government want us to do. This is the exact thing that Brexiteers want us to do, to an obsessive level. Have a listen.
It's often the case that shocks to the economy have some positive impacts. There is a possibility that some companies had got stuck in their ways, and Brexit is the shock required to make them open up their eyes to opportunities further overseas. So anything that shakes up the economy, makes us think a bit more globally, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
This man is pretty strange. A shock to the system? What does that mean? Like, you have to have some sort of punishment to do good? And he seems to be completely obsessed by money, and unfortunately for him, he seems to look very similar to Gollum in Lord of the Rings, who also obsesses over gold, shiny things. He seems to be obsessed with the 6th largest economy in the world, making even more money by finding markets away from the EU. It borders on insane, even at the detriment to our own planet. He wants us to do this.
Precious.
Now, in case you think I'm being over dramatic, let's actually have a listen to some of the people that have been affected by Brexit that were more than happy to ship into the EU, and because of Brexit have been forced to ship abroad, but also take note of the type of transport they're having to use.
Dubai.
As you can see, it's all being sent by airplane, which adds CO2 into the atmosphere, which warms up the planet.
In simple terms, to export to China, Hong Kong or Singapore, it is cheaper and quicker to export there than it is to France. So we're pushing sales in the UK and pushing sales into the Far East to try and compensate for what we've lost in Europe, but some days I feel like I'm physically going to collapse because I'm so exhausted.
I feel for him. I am no doubt that many rejoiners also feel exhausted by all of this extra stress that we've had on our lives, for frankly little to no benefit that any of us can see, other than apparently shock to the system, which we're now being told by that institute we needed because we were lazy just wanting to make money from people in the EU. How bad are we? And I have a few more examples. Let's have a look.
Brexit has made them look at new markets, and orders are coming in fast.
We would send in single pallet orders into the EU at the moment. With the Middle East, we're doing multiple pallets. I think Canada will probably be half containers, but America...
It's just been confirmed that we're going to be going with a 20-foot container.
Well, there you go.
So that is really exciting.
Australia is the first post-Brexit trade deal we've done from scratch, and it eliminates tariffs on English sparkling wine. So what it will mean, it will be easier to get our fantastic wine from the South Downs into Australia, and that will mean more opportunities here in the UK.
And more global warming for the rest of us. Thanks, Liz. Great thinking going on here. Fuck the planet, we want to make more money, and we're the 6th largest economy in the world. How much is enough? Let's go back to Gollum.
I think it's wrong to assume that just because the EU is currently our biggest and closest trading partner, it will remain so for future. The EU is going to be a relatively slow-growing part of the global economy. The growth markets are going to be in the developing world where we don't currently have trade deals. So I think there's a danger of overestimating the importance of the EU and underestimating the growth potential in other markets.
If we're the 6th largest economy in the world, why do we need more money? Why is it that important? How are we going to go even higher in that ranking? It doesn't make any sense, and all it's going to do is just destroy the planet. On top of that, we've got a little bit of downplaying and caught Boris out talking rubbish again, shock, on airplanes, electric airplanes, because as you saw in one of the other videos, it seems necessary to send some of this stuff via airplane now, because we've deliberately put up a barrier against our closest trading partners, and it now means there are such high tariffs, it's actually not worthwhile, and it's actually better to damage the environment and trade across the globe via plane, because sometimes that's the only way to get it across and keep it fresh.
Actually, in green technology, from wind turbines to batteries such as the ones we see being developed here today, zero-emission planes.
Zero emission planes, love it, just more nonsense. The electric planes can only do about 1,000 kilometers at the moment as a passenger plane. Now, if you want to know how far 1,000 kilometers can get you, well, you can have a look. I've just shown you that it can get you to just get you to Berlin, to the tip of Spain, to the south of France, and that's it. It really doesn't get you any further, and yet we want to be global. So that means we've got to use fossil fuel engines. Starting to see a pattern here of how much Brexiters really hate this planet and are happy to pollute it in the pursuit of making money. The technology that Boris is referring to is probably not going to be at the level that we need it to be at for probably 20 to 40 years based on what I've read in different sources who are talking about electric planes. It's absolutely useless, and all it's doing is increasing the damage to the environment in the meantime. If any of you are having any doubts about climate change, this is imagery from NASA showing the change in heat patterns that are taking place across the globe. Note where the heat is taking place the most: China, Europe, the United States, Canada. But also take note of this. This set of stats have come from the Met Office, and it shows that it was actually equal to or warmer in points in winter solstice over the summer solstice. We have massive issues, and Brexit is going to add to them. But frankly, this isn't shocking. Boris and his team just really haven't got a clue as to how to get us out of this huge mire that we've dug for ourselves with Brexit. So they seem to be desperate for any ideas that'll try and propel Britain forward and get them looking as if they didn't make a massive, massive blunder from deciding to go with Brexit. Just have a listen to Boris talking about his vision for Brexit, and he seems to be asking us to come up with ideas for him.
A better title than mayor for somebody who represents a county, then please send me an email. Local leaders who are tuning into this conversation about levelling up. My offer to you is all of you who see a role for yourselves in local leadership, come to us in government. Come to Neil O'Brien or to me or to Rob with your vision for how you will level up.
Now, just to be clear, I have no resentment for the people that featured in the Panorama documentary that I showed earlier, who were clearly hating Brexit and sort of looking at the global market. The sad thing is, they're just looking at it and going, this is how we're going to make our living, this is how we're going to make money now. And there's no sort of look at the fact that if each business is doing this and sending stuff on planes, it is going to have a massive detrimental effect to our CO2 output, which increases global warming. Now, for any of you in Britain that thinks, well, this isn't such a bad problem, global warming is giving us nicer temperatures, and the winters like less brutal, great, but it's also going to cause this. We came within a hair's breadth of a hurricane hitting the UK. As our temperatures increase, the frequency and the chances of this happening are going to increase as well. Hurricanes like warm water, our waters warm up, they're going to hit us more. Now, bearing in mind the government had no plan for COVID, do you really honestly believe that someone like Boris Johnson and his government have made any preparations for a hurricane hitting into the UK? Chances are no. I doubt they've made any preparations for any major cataclysmic event at all, because they clearly didn't do anything with COVID. On a final note, if we want this to change, if we want to change minds, if you know someone that voted Brexit, bring this to their attention. Get a dialogue going and see if we can start changing some minds, because this cannot continue. I hope you enjoyed my political observations this week. If you'd like to support me, please share the video with others and post about it on social media. If you're keen for more, subscribe, comment, like, and hit that notification button. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on Political X.